Hi everyone, welcome. Today we're going to talk about the literal language of the body, but we'll talk about more of the hows and the whats and the whys of the literal language of the body. We have videos on the literal language of the body that you can look at and learn about the different parts of the body and what it means. I'll quickly share a screen with you. But this is not what we're going to exactly talk about today. We're going to not cover everything. We're just going to help you understand the basics. The reason for this is we have things on the chart that we haven't addressed, to help people. Also, if we understand the reasoning behind this, then it's easy for us to apply it in other areas. So basically today we're going to cover kind of like the principles of the literal language of the body. But before I go on and get into this reasoning, I just wanted to show you this here. I've been teaching people since I've been back to Australia, and everyone here in Australia and everybody in the US that I've helped and I've taught, it makes sense. I always take people back to this and just teach them this different, not new, it's different, it's old actually, way of looking at our health, okay? But what I realized is I just wanted to make sure everyone got the principles down, the reasoning down, the simple truths behind all this. And then hopefully that'll give you tools or, I guess, confidence to apply to all the other areas that are not mentioned here, okay? So when we talk about the literal language of the body, we're talking about, the symbolism of the body, what we need to do to heal ourselves on the emotional and on the spiritual level. So when we look at charts like this, it kind of reminds us, hey, there's more than just the physical pain or discomfort or whatever we're experiencing, okay? We need to look at the other levels or dimensions of us, okay? Because we are multidimensional creatures. We are mind, body, and spirit, so we can't just take care of the physical. Yeah. So I'm gonna stop the share here. Sorry. So many times I've helped people who've gone to all the specialists and all the experts and the doctors that they know how. And when we address the emotional issues, things start shifting. But I'm not saying that the emotional issue is the only thing or the spiritual issue is the only thing. So sometimes we do need some physical adjustments or some physical help to help the body open up to the emotional and the spiritual and vice versa. Okay. So, this is how we approach health. So ladies, if you have a pen and paper, it might be a good idea for you to go through this exercise with me. Basically, it helps, going through this exercise will help you solidify your testimony, your beliefs in approaching health in this way with the literal language of the body. Okay. So I'm going to ask a few questions, and I invite you guys to share your thoughts and answers, because once you've evaluated and analyzed and thought things through, you can be committed and decisive on where you stand on this, okay? And this will help healing go so much faster, at least for you, because you have a conviction, okay? So ladies, are you ready? Yeah, even if you want to just take notes on your phone. All right. So already I mentioned a few things, but we'll talk about those things in a little bit more detail. Okay, so the first question I have for you is health too complicated beyond your ability to resolve? Is health too complicated for you to resolve? Okay, is it beyond your ability? Welcome, Alyssa. We're just talking about the literal language of the body, and I'm asking questions and just, helping you guys think about these things a little bit deeper. What do you guys think? You can put it in the chat if you like. Is health in general too complicated for us to figure out? What do you guys think? Yep, no, that's good. And why not? Why is it not beyond our ability to figure out? Yep. Yeah, Aubrey says it involves God, right? And God guides us in our health. Yep. I like that. Yep. We have healing abilities. Yep. Yeah. But in our subconscious, when we're hurting, we experience a bit of a fear sometimes that this is too much, I can't handle it. Okay. Or I'm going to break, or this is going to get worse. Right. Yeah. So one of the first things you want to resolve within yourself and help others resolve when you're trying to help them heal is the belief that you can heal, that the health problem is not too complicated beyond your ability to resolve. In our world, we think doctors, experts, they're just so smart. There's some sort of rocket scientists that, we can never, be as smart as. All right. So, so then we start doubting ourselves, and we start looking outside of us for answers, right? But we know in this community that the answers come from within, right? But within doesn't necessarily mean we have the answers inside of us already. We need to access God's power to receive the answers inside of our soul. Okay, so we reach out in prayer, we surrender our will, and we open our hearts fully. So I feel like those are the keys to help us find the answers within. What do you guys think? Yeah? And that's why with the energy balancing with faith, one of the first things we do is check the heart. Okay, because then the heart will start receiving these answers. Yeah. Welcome, Eleanor. We're having a discussion on the literal language of the body, like the principles behind it. Okay, the first question is health too complicated beyond our ability to resolve? Okay, beyond our ability to heal ourselves. And we've established, that no, we have the ability to heal and we need to do it with God. Okay, so now what is the function of our physical body being sick? Like, why? Have you guys thought about that question? Like, why do we get sick? Why is our physical body prone to pain and suffering and all sorts of discomforts? Anybody ever asked that question?
Well, one thing isn't that kind of your spirit's way of communicating with you that there's something unresolved or something that needs to be addressed?
Yep. Yep. So that's what you've understood, what you've learned, haven't you? Yep, there's some sort of a message, right, that your body's communicating. There's some sort of imbalance, right? So I believe that you're never just sick or hurt on the physical level for no reason. You know, I know some people might think that they're being punished, even if it's like a generational thing, right? Even if it's a genetic thing, it's like, was I punished? Did I do something wrong? Or that's just how life is. We're just gonna get pain. But I do believe that the Lord is intelligent and loving. So I just can't see that we are sick and in pain just because, for no reason at all, just random. And, you just the luck of the draw. And so you're just so unlucky at this moment to suffer from this physical health problem, right? And just grin and bear it. I just can't see a loving, intelligent God letting that happen, right? So in my mind, there's got to be a reason. And some people might say, well, what about an accident? Like, you caught a ball wrong, or you fell down the stairs and you hurt your knees and, your hips or whatever. There is like a teeny tiny percentage of that, but I still believe that we are better off veering on the side of finding a spiritual message that your body's communicating, okay? Even if there was an accident that triggered all this pain, okay? It's better to find solutions that will promote your faith, to strengthen your faith, right? So the function or the reason why we might be sick, if you can resolve this within you, and if you can explain this to others, it'll help them go here first. It'll, especially your children, right, that we have influence over. So whenever they are struggling with something, it'll help them go to this space of, okay, let me go to the Lord and, ask him in humility what it is that I need to do to solve this because of this discomfort and pain that I'm experiencing. Okay. So, you're looking for some sort of communication and you're looking for some sort of sermon. Okay. There is an imbalance, right? You're looking for truth. Okay. Because in our mind, sometimes we don't know what we don't know. We're so used to the way we are that is our norm. Yeah. So yes, Eleanor, it is a law of cause and effect as well. Cause, it could be like generational things that our ancestors have caused as well, right? So the thing is, there are lessons for us to learn, lessons of love, right? There's got to be lessons of love because that's the point of our existence here. We want to be like God, and God is love. Okay, so we're looking for truth of what is going on. So say, say a mom that is stressed and worried and anxious all the time. She might believe that, well, that's what moms do, like, I'm not going to be able to change that, right? That's how it is. I have to worry about my children. I have to be anxious about these things, otherwise things don't get done. Okay, that's her truth. But if her physical body says, girlfriend, your back's hurting, your shoulder's hurting, your neck's hurting, right? She can fight it all she wants. But her physical body is saying, there is an imbalance. You are stressing too much. You're too anxious. You're whatever, too worried. You see what I mean? So we may think that we're normal or we're right, but our physical body will say, no, right? You might want to list out, the two polar opposites. Is it like the shoulders? If you look at the literal language of the body chart, it says, well, carrying burdens that's not yours, or not believing that you're strong enough to carry your own burdens. So you can list it out, and then you can reason within yourself, because you have God-given intelligence, which one it is, because you're looking for this balance. Okay, we need to have this balance, because it's like centering ourselves in God, in how we should be. Any virtue taken to the extreme is a vice. Yeah. Okay. So you guys think about truth and lessons of love. That's the goal of it. Do you agree? Do you have a testimony of that? Yeah. So when we have a health issue, we just know that there's something, a sermon to be communicated, that we're looking for a truth. Okay, and the truth is always a lesson in love. I want to simplify this for you guys so that you can see that health isn't crazy complicated, and health isn't beyond your ability to heal. So sometimes the truth is, it's a battle between your will and God's will. And because your will is in there so much, you might be extending this problem. And, we're impatient about healing. We're like, let's get over this already. How come I'm not healed already? How come I haven't lost the weight? How come my pain's not gone? How come, everything's not cleared up? All right. So a lot of times it's the battle of the wills. I find that within myself, I find that within a lot of people. And our will is usually our stubborn fear, that we're holding on to, right? Yeah. Yeah, Aubrey. Yeah, it's always the case. So if we already know that, then we can solve the problem even faster. Okay. Because maybe God's like, hey, I just want you to look at this or go this one direction. But we're all, thinking this is the way we solve it. Like, quickly give me something now, instead of, can you just change this mindset? All right. I've had so many stories where, like I said, like one lady, she had a really bad ankle, and she's gone to all these experts. They couldn't figure it out. And after 3 experts, she came on to our call, and I said, let's see what emotion is in there. And so we talked about the emotions, and then, we kind of resolved it within ourselves a little bit. And then she was like, oh my goodness, Jade, he was gone. And she's like, what? This has been like this struggle for 3 months. And how come it's gone? And we were just talking, you know? So I'm like, oh, she did that. She did that change. Okay. Right. So I believe that a loving, intelligent Heavenly Father wouldn't leave us here without tools, without ways and means to help him communicate his will to us. Yeah. Yeah. So when you do muscle testing, sometimes you have mixed outcomes or mixed messages. That's when you connect with other people too, okay, to help you double check what you have. Because sometimes our heart is not fully open, sometimes it is, but not fully surrendering our will, and sometimes we just have a bit of doubt. And whenever we doubt, we're not fully connected to God. We're not allowing, the truth to come through. And that's why we have this community. And I hope this community grows and strengthens, and we bring in more people to learn these skills of really, really communicating with God. Yeah. And, when we do communicate really, really well, we get specific answers, even if it's a form of comfort. But we can ask for explanation. We can ask God to give us understanding. So the point of our existence here on earth is so that we can activate the God within. So we need to experience this powerlessness so that we can, conjure up power within us to connect to God, to activate our intelligence. Okay, so at all times, be aware that you're trying to strengthen your agency, your ability to choose, to change, and to create. Um, I I've met so many people in sessions where they kind of argue back, like, I've done things that God have told me to do. I've done things, and I said, yeah, well done, good job. But we're always progressing. So there's a little bit more all the time. There's another lesson and another lesson, right? So we need to be able to, if you set your goal as one day, if I'm strong enough and I'm connected to God really well, I can move mountains and I can walk on water. But until then, there's still more lessons to learn. Sometimes people think it's like a check, yes, I've got faith, and they're set. But I'm like, no, there's a lot more. Yes, faith, but let's have greater faith and greater faith and greater faith until you can move mountains. Okay. And so how is all this done? How is this magic done? How are we able to heal, right? In the end. What do you guys think?
I think a big part of it is learning to submit our will to God's. Like sometimes I don't want to hear the answer of, I just need you to be overweight for a while.
Yes, that was my answer before too. Yes. Yeah.
That makes no sense to me. But I like that you said we can ask for
Mhm.
an explanation or an understanding, because I've never asked for that.
Mhm. Yeah. The reason is always for your benefit, for your ability to strengthen your will, for us to heal for generations, because you have chosen to be the gateway. If you're here, you're the gateway. There's ancestors that bought into the lies of Satan and lived their life limited. And here you are being able to hear him, and you're able to be a little bit of a mini savior on Mount Zion. All right. So that is the reason why it's like, I need you to stay in this space for a minute. Or if you're sick and you're in bed and you can't move, I mean, that was me several times this year already. It's like, I just need to talk to you. Can you just listen? I need to give you more instructions, or I give you more understanding. And sometimes we're like, okay, I have so much on my plate already, so I don't want him to be telling me what to do more on top of what I'm already doing. But that's our assumptions. That's our will. We're assuming that he's going to give us something hard and something not so fun. Okay, but the instruction could be, hey, you know what? You're carrying all of the stuff that you don't need to carry. You put it on the altar and let me worry about those things. And let me give you some instructions of why you're doing what you're doing and where you may go next, and just greater understanding. So how many people do you know in the scriptures that have like really asked the right questions, the prophets, right? Some of the prophets, they didn't ask the deeper questions, right? Of tell me stuff. How is it all done? Tell me the beginning and the end, right? And just a handful of prophets that I know that I've read that have been given the privilege of, seeing the past and seeing into the future all the way to the end, because they asked. Yeah. And we're no different, right? If we desire and if there is a reason for us to do so, I feel like we're allowed to. So I had a lady, she was not happy with her health problem. She's felt like she's done all she could, got a tumor, right? And I said, well, let's connect to the Lord, and let's ask him for more instructions and more understanding. And she was like, whoa, no. She's like, I've done so much for God already. No. And I said, look, you may not be given a to-do list, you might be given just understanding. Yeah. Knowledge, visions. And she's all, oh. And so maybe we've put so many negative thoughts and things in our mind that he wants us to start clearing it away for ancestors, and so that they are blessed, and so that your children are blessed, because we heal backwards and we heal forwards too, don't we? Yeah. All right. So the how is, one, to surrender your will. Yes. But why do we want to surrender our will? What is the purpose for that? How to think about that for a minute. Why do we want to surrender our will?
Sorry, my daughter just came in, so I couldn't answer right away. That was basically what Christ was trying to show us through his whole ministry, was to surrender to God no matter what.
Yep. So that's so that we can be like Christ. Yep. Yep. And why do we want to be like Christ?
Because his example is kind of what we're shooting for. He showed us how to love. He showed us how to heal. He showed us how to trust in our Father. He
Mhm.
showed us how to have compassion towards other people. Like, he basically laid the benchmark for all those things.
Yeah, we want to have Christ-like characteristic. We want to be like Christ so that we can become a God like him. And part of our godliness is actually to be at one. Yeah, in the celestial kingdom where we hope to all be. That's the highest level of heaven, right? Everybody is at one. There is a unity, and that is the perfection. That's when we're complete. We don't have to be everything and everyone. We just need to be ourselves, the best version of ourselves, and then everyone else there in the celestial world is the best version of them. But when we come together, we complete each other, right? And the completion is that perfection, right? I need your strength as much as you need my strength. And when we come together, we work together, we can do anything and everything. So the reason why we want to surrender to God's will is, of course, it's going to lead us to, a happier, healthier place. And that's just a natural result of healing. The health is a natural result of connection. But we're practicing heaven, we're practicing how to be one. That's the whole point. So can we, in our discomfort, in our, overweightness, in our whateverness, be one with God? That's the key, right? That's the key. So if we keep our mind on that oneness, that is, thinking celestial. And we practice that oneness in our homes with our family members, right? And we practice, that oneness with God when we surrender our will to him, right? And surrendering will, like Sarah said, yeah, be grateful for what he's given you, but know his purpose, know that the point of what he's trying to do for you and with you is to activate the God within so that you can adopt all these, God-like characteristics that Christ has emulated, just have taught us, right? So we can be joint heirs and make that oneness complete. So how do you know that you've nailed that oneness in that moment? I have a little test for myself, and I do this for my friends and family too. How do you know you've connected and became one.
Jade, can I go?
Yes, please.
Okay. Um, I love this topic today, and I love everything about this because I recently have just received like this second layer of insight with all of this, and it's just so brilliant. It's so brilliant. And I can't tell you enough, like, do your work every day. Do your work every day. And this is what the Lord taught me just this last week. Um, Cheryl, you don't have to wait till you hurt. Because
Yes.
I'm really good at waiting till I hurt. And then I go, oh man, that's not feeling right. That feels like I should go fix something, right? So then I go do my work. And then the spirit was like, Cheryl, you don't have to wait till you hurt. Like, look, you recognized long before that your emotions get out of balance. And I was like, what? What? You mean like I'm not even allowed to feel grumpy? Like I can feel grumpy, and that's like a sign to me that something's out of balance.
Mhm.
So yesterday I woke up. Here's just a prime example. I woke up yesterday, and Wednesday night I had started this new songwriting class. And the songwriting class I thought was going to be a lot less formal than it was. So the way I came prepared to the songwriting class emotionally and mentally, I highly disappointed myself. Okay. And I didn't know any better. It's not like I could have done anything beforehand. It was just like, oh, wow, we're being a lot more formal than I thought we were being. I thought we were going to come here and share kind of raw material, not something that was like pre recorded in a studio. So I was like a little like, oh, right. So I went first, not knowing what I was in for the night. And, um, and showed up to the meeting with this very raw material. And I was just there to like songwrite with people, like, okay, let's get your input, like, help me out, right? And other people were not in the same place. Like, they had pre recorded this material. This was material they were almost ready to release. And I don't even know why they brought it to this meeting, to be real honest, you know? So I had certain feels about it, but I made it through. I got through the meeting, and I enjoyed the meeting, and I was like, okay, whatever, you know. So the next morning I woke up, and all of a sudden everything was irritating me. Like, I was not happy to see the kids at school. I was super irritated with my own children. There was dishes that were irritating to me. Everything was irritating. It was irritating, irritating, irritating. And I was like, why can't you guys do your dishes? Why this? Why that? Why this? Why that? Why are these kids so annoying to me? And like, right, like I was spinning. And then I talked to my husband on the phone, and he could tell that I was having like some irritation, but I hadn't really said anything. And he was like, honey, is there anything I can do for you? And I was like, no, like, what do you think I need? Like, I'm fine. And he was like, okay, and so I backed up, and I'd been reading this book, right, that was just like coaching me on this process. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to just grab my journal. So I grabbed my journal at my nearest break in the day, and I grabbed my journal, and I just started writing. And I was like, the dishes. I just started writing down all my current concerns, right? Like, the dishes are irritating. These kids at school are irritating. Why are they so mean? Why don't they just be obedient? Like, I was just started writing all these things down. And then it was like, keep going, Cheryl, back up, go back, keep going, go back. And all of a sudden I was like, this meeting was really irritating to me.
Uh-huh.
And it was because, and then I started like, I'm gonna go all Brene Brown on you for a second, but Brene Brown talks about these shame gremlins that hit us. And I found all the shame gremlins that came out for me in that meeting. And all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, like, I could care less. These kids, I love these kids. Oh my gosh, I love my kids. I do the dishes every day. Who cares about the dishes? Like, nothing was irritating anymore, because I found the shame gremlins, and they lied inside of that meeting that night. And then the shame gremlin started telling me all these things that weren't true about myself, right? You can't do this. You're not good enough. You're never going to measure up. All these like shame gremlin speeches, right? And so I was like, okay. And I spent some time like banishing them, like, oh, that's not truth. Well, that's not truth. Well, that's not truth. And then the spirit came to me and was like, how do you think the leader of this meeting, his name is Steve, and the Spirit said to me, how do you think Steve got to where he was? He was once where you are. Just breathe, like walk through the process. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that's so brilliant. And then all of a sudden, everything vanished. Like I felt all this peace come to me. And it was like descend to ascend, like descend to ascend. Then there's this principle, right? Of descend to ascend. And this is Christ. This is everything in our lives. This is day to day to day to day to day to day to day. And I wasn't realizing that emotionally, he was quite literally asking me, it's okay to have these feelings. Then we're going to go descend. We're going to gather them up, and then we're going to ascend out of it. And we're just going to move forward. And I just felt so much peace. The next piece of paper I grabbed a paper and started writing a song. And it was just like flowing. It was just coming to me, right? And it was just kind of a brilliant moment of the Lord teaching me. I don't have to wait for these literal languages of the body to come up for me, which is what I used to do all the time. I would wait till something hurt and then I would go do my work because I figured that part out, right? But then the Lord like layered it back for me and was like, Cheryl, you don't have to do that. You can do it way back here. When that emotion gets out of line and you feel irritated with the world, that means you're out of balance with me. Brilliant.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that story. Yeah, it's the whispers, and Cheryl saying, when you get that little emotional discomfort, and that's the whispering before your, irritation becomes like a kidney stone. Why would you hold on and like walk with a stone in your shoes for a long time or whatever, that discomfort, and she recognizes that. And Cheryl, she's sensitive to the Spirit. She has she's done this for not a huge amount of time, but she's compressed it. She's done a lot of work. And so you're more sensitive to your emotions and the imbalances because you know what it feels like to be connected to God. And so I am going to repeat that question. How do you know when you're fully connected to God? You have peace, power, and purpose. Right. And so here's Cheryl. It's what a wonderful example of saying, hang on, I do not feel peace, power, and purpose. This day is horrible. The kids are annoying and everything else is, not peace, power, and purpose. But once she recognized how to repent, right? We have to repent and then how to rebuke the shame gremlins, or basically it's just Satan, right? Whispering lies to us. Once you recognize all that and you learn how to rebuke, you've got that peace, power, and purpose again. Yeah. So those are the principles, ladies. All right. It's excellent. It's just exactly what we need. We need to just listen to the whisperings and know that, hang on, when I'm not going to get connected to God fully because I'm not feeling this peace and power and purpose. I mean, look at her purpose. Her purpose was just to create this song. And then when she grabbed a piece of paper, the downloads just come, and it was just ease and flow and beauty. All right. So when we can't create something, when we can't figure out something, that's because we haven't fully become one with God. Yeah. I hope that makes sense. So it's not terribly complicated, and we don't ever tell yourself, I don't know where to go, what to do, it's basically, okay, am I surrendering fully? Am I one with God? Yeah. And then once you make the connection, you're activating this God within by, figuring out what you need to do to change. And that word change in religion is called repent, right? How do I change this? How do I change this negative thought and belief that I'm never going to be good enough and so great? And, how did it get there? So you're using your God-given intelligence to reason. We need to have that power, and a lot of people don't activate that power, and that's why I had that call on the Bloom's taxonomy, level of intelligence and level of thinking, learning, because we're all down here all the time and we're waiting for somebody to tell us what to think and how to think, when we have this God-given intelligence and ability to reason, to evaluate, to experiment, right, to make lists and to judge. And then you access your heart, you access your spirit, and you say, you know what, this feels good, or this doesn't feel good, and now I'm going to be decisive and I'm going to make a choice. So guys, if you are experiencing lots of indecisiveness in your life, it's because you haven't practiced, this skill of reasoning with the Lord, reasoning with your spirit, and being aware of your emotions. And once you do, then you can be making decisions so much faster. I love how Cheryl's example, it's like, wait a minute, woo, I'm feeling this. Here's my choice. I got to fix this. I got to sit down and figure this out. Okay. The downloads that I've received over these years as I help people with this, is basically very simple. Yeah. Right. What I think of your health problem, the solution is surrendering your will to God, making connection, making that oneness more complete. And then as you connect, you hear these lies that Satan has put into your mind or generations. And once you recognize that, you can put it down and then you can rewrite it. That's it. And all of that is because the power of God, Jesus's atonement, helps make all that connection possible. And the power of love is the glue. Yeah. Okay, so it's never just we wait till we get sick or hurt. Like Cheryl said, that's how we start, because we think it's one and done. Like, I've cleared something, yay, I'm done. But every day it's an opportunity for refinement. And I, as much as I can every day, I find 1 or 2 emotions that I need to resolve. And a lot of it is generational, and a lot of it will make you aware of some of the thoughts that you're having that limit you. Yeah, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that, but yeah, I could see that now. Yeah, I could do that better, or I can be more. Yeah. Like, I don't like how the world uses I am enough, right? Because sometimes it means you're here and in this state, you're good. Yeah, but I'm enough for God now, but I'm going to continue to progress. Yeah, and that's why I'm enough. Okay, when
Yeah.
meaning is that way. Yeah. Don't
It's
just
the shift from come as you are, but don't plan to stay that way. It's
Yeah.
that shift.
Yeah, don't fully accept that, I'm like this already. You're accepted, you're loved by God. Okay, so that's established. So, now change, now be better. Because I think sometimes people get offended or hurt when they're asked to change. But I'm like, no, this is good stuff. This will help you be happier. And I love that Cheryl reminded us of that descend and then ascend. Right, we talked about that in our calls a lot. When you descend, you got to get down to that baseline and go, okay, let go of me, my pride, my ego, or my thinking. This is what I'm thinking, and like allow God to help you change that. And we need to be uncomfortable to recognize that there needs to be a change. So I think we can be grateful for the pains and the discomforts, whether it's physical or emotional, or both or all, because then it compels us to change. And when we change, we ascend with God. We really do feel that lift. Our heart is lifted. We feel lighter, and physically, your weight is lighter as well. And I challenge you guys to get to the point where you transcend. There are a lot of things that you have already transcended, all right, because we've elevated ourselves, and then we got to the point where we're even higher. So we want to transcend a lot more. Transcend, for me, means that those things no longer bother me anymore. Yeah, you're no longer attached to certain stuff anymore. It's not all stuff, but it's some things and some areas that you've been very successful at. Okay. And then you just keep working on the other areas. So, our minds don't feel overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, I got a million ancestors stuff that I need to resolve, or God's not that cruel, right? Just peel a layer off at a time. You'll feel comfort and you feel joy. I've had friends that like felt like they've healed. They're like, Jade, I don't have pain anymore. I'm so great, so great, so great. I'm like, good, but there's more, you know. Not that you should be worried about it, but it'll come and you'll peel layers off. And then the year after, they're like, I didn't know that this is higher level of joy. Wow. And I'm so happy. And a lot of times we do have to pay for that joy with the price of pain that we offer to the Lord. Okay. So know that on the other side of that pain, there's that joy and comfort. And a lot of our friends were talking about it today, like, I don't want to face it because it's just so uncomfortable, and digging up the past, and, you know, you think it's just big, ugly, deep and dark and never ending. But there is light. Okay. So guys, what do you think? What do you feel? I hope today you've resolved it within yourself, you know, how you want to change and heal, and what healing is all about. In my understanding, in what I've been taught as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we're going to be resurrected with a perfect body, and that will never be separated again. So you live forever from that point. But what we're doing here on earth is learning to work with that, with our body now, so that we can fully master the body that we have later on. And depending on our righteousness will depend on the power and the light of the body we will receive. So I'm sure all of us here want to have the best, the most glorious body, right? And we're practicing that now. We're practicing mastering the elements as we rebuke the demons, the gremlins, right? And change. So if we're not actively sorting out the programming in our mind, we're not actually using our agency well. Okay.
Jade, that's so brilliant. Like, I just like some of the stuff we say like it's just like the stuff we say every day, but that's so brilliant. Like, activate your agency. That is just such a brilliant phrase. Like, you get this. This is a choice you get to make. Man, I cannot say that enough. Like, you have agency, use it powerfully. Don't become passive with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. Any other thoughts, guys, or feelings in your heart? Connections today? Welcome, Anama. Lovely to see you. We're talking about healing the spirit and the mind and stuff through literal language of the body. But hopefully before that, we experience the feelings that are uncomfortable and we resolve that early. Yeah. What stood out to you guys today, ladies?
Oh man, I'm just trying to write as fast as I can.
This is recorded, so yeah, I'll send you the recording.
I would love that. Thank you.
So these are the things that are in my heart this week, and I wanted to share with you guys. So I'm going to just extend this a little bit just to challenge us. So say, I'm going to share one of the sisters' experience this week. Just to give you an example. So say we have, like itchy eyes or something, and you're like, hang on, itchy eyes isn't on the chart. What do you do now? What do you do? Using all the principles we talked about today, where do you think we're going with this?
Well, I used to just text you, but I think
I'll be like,
I think the message the message is that we have it within ourselves to communicate with God
"Mm,
what we need to be doing, and so we can ask him.
yes, that's right. Start with asking him first. Yeah. But you know this because it is symbolism, right? So what are your guesses? Or what would you do? Hey, Nala.
So I would say maybe I don't want to see what is going on. I'm irritated by what I'm seeing. That's so interesting you brought that example because that's been happening to my son
Oh,
at
okay.
school.
Yeah.
And he's not liking school right now. He doesn't like what he sees and constantly trying to help him to, kind of change that mindset. Like it's not about that, but like you, like what
Yeah.
do you want to see? What do you see,
Kind of
And
like what
so it's been in this place where like my eyes started getting itchy, right? Because I'm like, he's not getting it, but I don't know what else to do, you know? And I'm just constantly um having conversations with Heavenly Father, like, what do I do next? Like, what can I do? And how can I help him? And because he's irritated and then I'm getting frustrated because I'm like, it's just so simple. Just do what mommy's telling you to
okay,
do.
you want him to feel comfortable. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
And
this
it's just
lesson is
like,
a struggle.
yeah. So I'm seeing him struggling and then I'm struggling with trying to teach him. And he's not understanding. And then I'm just like, okay, my Father. And then my son's like, can we just pray already? And I'm like, yeah, let's just pray again. And and let's get through this. And so in the past, like just yesterday, his eyes started clearing up. And I said, oh, so what are you seeing at school that you like? And so he's like sharing with me. And then I was like, wow, my eyes are itchy. Oh, I'm so glad my son is seeing what he likes or what he's trying to deal with right now with what he's dealing with at school. Cause he's getting bullied.
Mm,
And I think part of it is he knows that he's getting bullied, but he's pushing it aside and he's trying to be better and being more forgiving and being more loving and trying to not be distracted about not being included. And
mhm.
so yeah, definitely irritation, don't like what you're seeing,
Mm.
and surrendering what you think or want to have, be seen to our Heavenly Father.
Yeah. So I like that you helped him work backwards because the stuff on the surface, the problem isn't the problem, right? Like what Cheryl said, it's not the dishes, it's not the kids at school. Yeah. So just kind of dig until you actually find the trigger. Okay. So as parents, that's the challenge when we see our kids very unhappy and uncomfortable. We want to fix it right away. We want it to be solved and we want to kind of um, feel better because we're all invested in it. The trick is to connect to the Lord and to go through this and guide them through this without interfering with the Lord's work. If the Lord needs him to be irritated a little bit longer, we need to allow it and we need to be unattached. Okay, otherwise he's going to have that same problem. We can't tell him the solutions until you kind of help him figure it out a little bit, ask a few more questions so that he can have a higher level of reasoning ability. This ability to reason. You guys still hear me? Yeah. Because they haven't had that training at home. Yeah, because we're as moms, we just want to give them the answer really quickly. Come on, you haven't found the answer, so here you are. Yeah, so like okay, just breathe and count numbers and let them kind of mold it in their minds, and then they can sort of solve it. And sometimes you're like, well, why don't we leave it and you just figure this one out for a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll revisit it. Right. Other times, if it's like, Mom, I'm ready. Let's keep going. You can keep going. Okay, so the point is you can ask questions like Eminette said, Eyes is about what? Eyes can see. If eyes are itchy, if eyes are irritated, and yeah, you can write down all the questions. Am I irritated? And am I, not seeing what I? And then you can muscle test, or you can, feel your heart. With children, I can just say, feel your heart. Which one is it? It could be this one, or it could be this one. It could be two of these things out of the five or whatever. But you'll know, and then that's the direction you go to find that oneness. Ask yourself if you're able to surrender to the Lord, and keep digging and digging until you find out what the real problem is. And the real problem could be he hasn't learned to respect and love and accept himself. So he allows this bullying to happen. Because as soon as he starts respecting himself, people just feel that energy and they leave him alone. Yeah. So it's not about necessarily pushing back or going to those people and resolving it necessarily. Could be just this respect for himself. Yeah. So we had heavy chest. Okay. So, we have a few ideas of heavy chest. What other things that you can come up with that is the symbolism to help you learn how to surrender and be at one, learn to repent and rebuke? Well, we have a heavy chest. My mom talked about this week, how she's like, I don't have this heavy chest anymore. I'm like, okay, good job, Mom. What did you do?
I mean, it could be like burdens, taking things on that is not our own. Like you said, being so attached to what other people are dealing with and not even recognizing our own burdens or trials we're going through. And then sometimes it's like the chest too is like when you're breathing in and out, just like taking in life and breathing out or exhaling and getting through life. This is just how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be hard. I have to take it in and dish it out.
Limiting
that kind of limiting yourself and
beautiful,
truly embracing life and living life.
Yeah. Anything else, guys, about chest?
In the infographic you shared at the beginning, it talks about the inability to nurture yourself or others.
Yeah.
And so what is it? Is it yourself that you're struggling to love or to, allow imperfections, to give yourself grace? Is it other people? Are your expectations too high? That kind of thing.
Beautiful. And, you may have resolved it for yourself over the years, but have we resolved it for ancestors? That's another question we can ask. Yeah. Because I did that because I'm like, oh, my lungs are great, but what's this? There's a little bit more in my lungs, and I thought I cleared it, and I thought I don't have asthma anymore or whatever. And then it's all of these generational stuff, generational grief or whatever. Yeah, this panic. So just more layers, but it's good for everyone. Your ancestors will be able to support you more when they've healed. The spirits, I feel like they're our guardian angels. They turn around and help support you. But now if you can recognize that you're clearing stuff for them, that'll be helpful for them too. Yeah. When you're in pain, it's a bit of a nuisance. You're like, those ancestors. Yeah. Anything else about the chest and the heaviness? Yeah.
I really love what Eminette said about we take on other people's stuff. I think as women that we're pros at that. And I think one of the things that God loves so much about women is this celestial orientation that we have. And we have this like light about us that just immediately attracts us to the things of heaven, which is a beautiful gift. But it comes with this flip side of I have to be the savior And we don't think that, but that's how we behave. And I don't think that that's God's plan. Like, in fact, I'm positive that's not God's plan. He already sent a savior to handle that,
Yeah.
right? But that's the part of us that wants so much to have that celestial orientation. But unfortunately, the thing that we do is we don't lead them to Christ and then let go of it.
Mhm.
We lead them until they get it so we can be Christ. And that's not, I don't think, our thought process, but that's essentially what we're doing. And so we have to really learn how to lead them to Christ. This is the teach correct principles and let them govern themselves. Lead them to Christ. Now let go.
Beautiful.
And trust Christ. Trust Christ. Trust the process.
Yes.
They're not going to screw this up. God has every intention of getting them back, even if it takes 40 years wandering in the wilderness. Like, he will get them back. Like, don't stress, but lead them to Christ. And that's the only thing you can do is stay by the tree, right? Stay by the tree, like Lehi. He just waited by the tree. He said, come to me, come to me, come to me. But he never left the tree. Stay by the tree. Let them come to you, and they will get there, because the wickedness never was happiness, right? There's just so much like beauty in all of these phrases that we say every day that I don't think maybe we've attached quite correctly.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, we haven't attached quite correctly, because we just have to sew those pieces together in this process. Yeah, and now we can see the pieces coming. So yeah, we need to ask ourselves, like Cheryl said, am I carrying that?
Jade, we lost you.
Are you able to hear me? Yeah. Yeah, I just have to turn off Bluetooth because I think Ben walked past and his AirPods got picked up. So he's listening to
Yeah, we lost you. We lost you for a minute there.
Yeah. No, I was saying, when you get to that point where, like Eminette said, you ask the question, am I nurturing people too much? Am I trying to take on that other people's stuff? Yeah, once you recognize that, like Cheryl said, you got to rewrite it right away. This is activating your agency. You choose to say, I trust God. I trust the process. He's so much stronger than me. He knows so much more than me. Okay. And you can rewrite it for your ancestors too. And we forget because we're like, I worked on this for a million years already, and I think I'm done. And I haven't, bothered my kids and I haven't yet. But like you can muscle test and say, hey, is this stuff all mine or there's more? And so what you can imagine in your mind is, here's this tree and I plucked the leaves off, but there's still this root that I haven't addressed. So you can say, oh, is it from my father's side? Yeah, it's from my father's side. I can see that dad's like that and grandpa's like that too. So I'm going to rewrite this for my ancestors, and I'm making a declaration with my agency, right? My declaration is, we trust God. You guys, we trust God. And Jesus got this. And even if it takes a long time for them to heal from whatever this is, it's going to be resolved. They know what they're doing. They're loving. They're intelligent. And this is what energy balancing with faith is about. We've got a few skills like putting things on the altar and, being unattached, all of these skills to help us resolve and help us rewrite. And that's the point of this. Yeah. Yeah. So I hope that you can just look at this and go, and one more thing before we're done today with this part of the call. Let's talk about weight. Okay. let's dig into this a little bit more, because I've had lots of people asking questions. Oh, I'm over 40 and therefore I'm supposed to gain weight and all these things. And I'm like, okay, wait. Yeah, that's something we need to rewrite as well. But what's the symbolism of this when we're gaining weight, when we're not able to lose the weight?
I know weight in the thighs is all about protecting yourself.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times people will do it because they, I don't know, they don't feel comfortable in their own skin or who they are. So they don't want to draw attention to themselves, maybe they think,
Mhm.
or it's just about, feeling the need to be protected.
Yeah. So that's one big one, feeling the need for protection. And then with this theme, we can elaborate on it, because I feel like there's a lot of generational stuff here to unpack. Yeah. So when you start unpacking, you'll feel like you'll recognize there's traumas. And there's a lot of self-rejection, right? And all of that leads to not feeling safe. Okay. And, the more you learn about health physically, the more you understand what to do. So say it's related to hormones. So you can go there on that path and resolve hormones. What I learned about hormones is it's chemical instructions. So to me, it's us not being able to hear the small, still small voice of the Lord and listening to the little instructions He's given us. And maybe it's not just us, maybe it's ancestors. There's many, many people in the past that have not been used to listening to the still small voice, and not responding to it as we need to, right? Okay, and it could, and hormones lead to metabolism. Okay, metabolism is about creating energy and using energy. And when we think of the ability to create, are we creating with lots of energy or lots of power? I know I'm not, I still can do more in that area. Yeah. And again, we can dig into the ancestors. Some of people are holding themselves back, right? So it's not just us. What am I doing wrong? What am I eating that's wrong? And we have to be really strict. And sometimes we go too far in that area. Like, I've had friends that are like, oh, I just eat salads and I just eat this and still nothing's happening. And I'm like, yeah, sometimes we've gone too far. We're supposed to live and enjoy food as well. There's a little bit of a balance. So it may not just be this one distracting focus of food only. It is a factor, but it's not just the only factor. So where in our ancestry that we haven't fully fulfilled, our measure of creation, we haven't, got out there and did things with energy and power. And so, Aubrey, you were talking about, oh, maybe you need to sit on this. And I feel like it's not a passive sit, it's more of an active sit on it. Yeah. So let's clear for this ancestor and these people, and then for my history, and yeah, where have I not created? Because that's why, we hide and we don't create, and so we can say big fat fear, but unpack that fear a little bit. Yeah. Am I dreaming?
Hey, Jake,
Go ahead. Yeah.
can I work with you on this a little bit?
Yeah.
Maybe you can help me through some things, is what I'm saying. So about 3 months ago, maybe a little more, like maybe 4-ish months ago, I started walking through all of this, and I feel like God put me on the fast track, like, which means all the trials came at the same time. Because sometimes I'm like, why are you doing that? Well, I just can we do one thing at a time? You know, like that feeling.
I'm sorry, Shell. But when do you ever not go on the fast track?
It's true about me though. And I say that a lot, but it's true. I feel like
True.
that all the time. Okay,
Yeah.
regardless. So I started working with this lady because I felt like I wasn't digesting.
Mhm.
And I was having like my husband's in Texas. Just, I mean, I know you know this, but just to give everybody kind of a background here. My husband is in Texas. I'm in Nashville. We plan to reunite. We're not separated on purpose. It's just when the separation happened, he had all these projects going and he had to finish up. And God was like, I need you now. And so I left. And I'm here, and we know all of this has a purpose, but it's taken a lot longer than I thought. Okay. And in the process, there's been some really traumatizing things that have happened inside of our marriage just by being separated in a way that was like not necessarily our choice. You know what I'm saying? So all of these things start coming up. And anyway, so I go to this naturopath doctor and I'm like, can you, like, I'm having a really hard time digesting. Like I feel sick every time I eat. And she was like, and I'm gaining weight, right? Like this weight thing. So we worked through some things. I'm going to give you the really fast forward version now. She first found that I had like all of these imbalances with H. pylori, which meant my stomach acid in my gut was not aligned. So I literally couldn't digest. And I called my sister and I was like, sis, and my sister's a nurse, but I called her and I was like, I'm having trouble digesting. What's going on? And she goes, she started laughing at me because she knows I do this work and she does this work. And she started laughing at me and she goes, does it sound a lot like your marriage right now? And I was like, oh my gosh. Like I was having a hard time digesting what was happening. Like quite literally, I couldn't stomach it. And it was making me sick to my stomach, like
Mhm.
to try to manage it. Then after that layer peeled, she was like, "Oh, now you're having trouble with candida." Okay. So now I can't ingest anything sweet. Like quite literally, like think that through for a second. I can't digest anything sweet. Like I had focused so much on these bad things that I was having such a hard time digesting. My
Mhm.
eyes weren't itchy, Eminette, but my stomach acid was not working,
Mhm.
right? So then I can't digest anything sweet. Okay, I get through the candida layer.
All right.
Okay, so then it's like hormonally, your body is not metabolizing estrogen. And I'm like, well, that's so fascinating because I am having to do a role that is man, female, single parenting. I have to fix and do. I started calling myself Bob the Builder with all the things that I had to like fix around this house, right? That normally my husband would just handle. Okay, so I was quite literally stepping into a role that felt like a man role instead of like divine feminine, right? So then I had to work through that. Like and these are things that happened inside my head. It was like not they're it's not real. They're not real. It was just what I was thinking about it, how I had connected or attached to it.
Mhm.
So then so we get rid of the layer and we move on to the next one. I'm telling you, like 5 layers deep, I was like, holy, like, what is all this? Right. And I just think the Lord is like, just when you think you know something, the Lord's like, oh, honey, we've got layers and layers and layers to get through. So I just felt like he kind of was forcing me to walk through all of this stuff. And then one of the big attachments that came up was, who told you that your body was not right? Who told you that? And it was quite literally when I've gotten to this point now, all of these layers into this place of like, why are you so attached to worldly beauty
Mhm.
instead of my beauty?
Mhm.
And I was like, ugh,
Mhm.
like God is so brilliant, right? I want so bad to be this divine creature for him. And he's like, then you have to let go of the world. Like you have to let go of that. And how do we do that? Like, how does he get to us at age 40 when we finally should be figuring this out, right? Is to say, you gotta let go of this like worldly connection to beauty.
Yeah.
And I just was like, oh.
Yeah.
And I, you know, oh wretched man that I am moments that we hopefully experience often for our own sake. But that was a big one for me.
No, I hear you. I went through something very similar as well. And it's like, okay, I'm going to make peace with the weight that I have right now, you know. And, you know, the Vietnamese people, they're very honest. So, you know, when I meet aunties and uncles, they're like, hi. They don't say, hi, how are you? They're like, hi, you're fat, or hi, you're skinny, or hi, you're black. And so I get, oh, hi, you gain weight. You know, I'm like, yes, thank you. I love you too. But it's
My
I noticed something about you, right? Yeah. Go ahead.
when I was a teenager, my grandma would hug us and she'd kind of squish our waists and go, hmm. So she was more subtle in her approach, but it was kind of the same.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just that there's it's not a taboo thing. So anyways, you know, I was thinking, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And then I came to that space where, you know, I had to peel this layer off and the next layer off and the next layer. And I'm like, I'm still going. Oh my gosh. And then that one layer that's like, how, you know, who told you you're not beautiful? Who told you you're not good enough? Yeah. And so I'm like, humble. Oh, okay, so sorry, so vain. And then it's like, okay, I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm just gonna be at peace with this right now and keep peeling the layers of that I need to layer. And you know, you've got that fraud, you're fraud, or you're, you know, what is it, imposter syndrome. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, not you, you know, that little shame, what do you call that you said, shame gremlin thing?
Shame gremlins. That's
Yeah.
Brene Brown. That's not me.
Yeah.
I just think it's such a brilliant phrase
It
though.
is
Because
a
it
beautiful
does
phrase.
like give you those little like, oh,
Yeah,
like feelings, right? Like
for
shame
sure.
gremlin.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, because it's like Satan, but then you can put like an image to this right now, like, yeah, you just have to find that peace. But yeah, all of these things that we talked about, the emotional side of it, give yourself an opportunity to heal for generations as well. You know, all of the traumas and the fears and pushing through, because what you're doing right now could be a whole new level that no one in your ancestry has ever reached. So you're a trailblazer. And of course, you know, in my mind, when I'm a trailblazer, I'm still cutting through the foliage and cutting through the trees of the new forest I've never been through before. And I'm paving a path. And it may be more difficult than, you know, I had hoped. It will take longer than I had hoped. But the trail has been created, and the ancestors and the kids that come from you, or the relatives that come, you know, along this path, will have it a lot easier. So when I was super sick at the beginning of the year with my back problems, I could not even sit up to do a session of myself. I'm thinking it, but like it kind of a move. That's how bad it was. Every little twist and turn hurt. And then my friend came along, and she's a chiropractor and she does naturopathic stuff too. And she sat there and she cleared and cleared and cleared for me and with me. And one of the things she did was she cleared for Vietnam, you know, and when I'm just telling you guys, like, oh, clear for ancestors and stuff, she went all the way. She's like, is this, you know, one group of people? How far does it go? You know, and then in her mind, she's like, Vietnam, the whole of the country. And I'm like, I'm laughing and I'm like, oh, I'm hurting. But she's like, yeah, it's strong, Jade. It's yes for that. And I thought, who am I to be able to bless this whole country? And it was so humbling. And I released that. And then a month later, 2 months later, my daughter gets her mission call to Vietnam. And that was so humbling for me to see that I may have played a role in paving the way for her and people like her to help them heal. So you never know. You never know, right? And here we are, like, especially me, sitting in my vanity, going, I just need this little, love handle to go away, then I'll be happy. Who cares? In the eternities, it does not matter. I can still be happy, right? But it's not about accepting and sitting there. It's accepting and then going to work and resolving things for the ancestors. Because here's a clue that we still have work to do on ourselves. That's all. Yeah. But we still be happy all along the way. Yeah. Any comments and feelings, thoughts?
I agree with you, Gabe. Like when I'm stuck in this and I think it's just me,
Yeah.
then I take the time to really like listen. And I've been doing things like, 365 to the fourth power. And I'm like, who are these people? Are they even relatives of mine? And then it came to a point where it doesn't matter. Just write the number down, M, and help them, exactly what you said, like pave the way. I never saw it as that. I felt that I was like working so hard and like, down in the trenches kind of a feeling. And I felt so alone, like I'm there with all these people and I don't know where to guide them. I don't know where to go. And then when I do exactly what you said, when I surrender, I'm like, okay, Heavenly Father, help me. And writing these numbers down to the 5th, 600th power, whatever. And I'm like, well, that's a lot of people, but okay, Heavenly Father, I'm willing to do this with you, help me know what you want me to do next or where it can be next. And exactly what you said, then I'm like, okay, wow, this is a lot. This is humbling and putting things more into perspective. Exactly what you said from the very beginning, finding that purpose and power in building his kingdom and striving to be more like our Savior.
Yeah, that's our whole point. Yeah. We lose focus when we're looking at the numbers on the scale or whatever. We just lose focus. Yeah. Or when is this discomfort gonna, be gone? Yeah. That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I really enjoyed this. This is recorded, so Aubrey, you can go back and take notes. Better if you missed something. All right. So I'll stop the recording now. Thank you for watching, everyone.